This video is dedicated to conservative Washington Post columnist J.J. McAuliffe. There you go, buddy. There you go. I even kept the title. For those of you not in media, it's a smaller world than you think. We all chat behind the scenes.
Being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos to steal the money from the TikTok views.
Welcome back. I'm not going to tell you how to feel about Tucker Carlson's interview of Andrew Tate, but I felt grossed out and deeply disgusted by Tucker's abdication of his role in journalism. And I would submit to you, if you are a critical thinker, that by the end of this video, you cannot help also feeling a little grossed out and disgusted by Tucker Carlson's gross journalistic malpractice. And we'll go into the reasons why Tucker Carlson may be softballing Andrew Tate on purpose. Now, a lot of people are sloppy with language, so let me give you an example of what I expect a journalist interview to look like compared to a podcast. They're two different things. This is a journalist interviewing a subject.
I was entitled to express my views. I was entitled to be consulted.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I was not entitled to instruct Derek Lewis, and I did not instruct him. And
Did you threaten to overrule him?
The truth of the matter is that Mr. Marriott was not suspended.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I did not overrule Derek Lewis.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I took advice on what I could or could not do.
Did you threaten to overrule him, Mr. Howard?
And I acted scrupulously in accordance with that advice. I did not overrule Derek Lewis.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
Mr. Marriott was not suspended.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I have accounted for my decision to dismiss Derek Lewis.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
Detail before the House of Commons.
I note you're not answering the question whether you threatened to overrule him.
The important aspect of this, which it's very clear to bear in mind.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be frightfully rude, but
yes, you can.
I'm sorry. It's a quite straight yes or no.
Question, and I will give you an answer.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I discussed this matter with Derek Lewis. I gave him the benefit of my opinion. I gave him the benefit of my opinion in strong language. But I did not instruct him because I was not entitled to instruct him. I was entitled to express my opinion, and that is what I did.
With respect, that is not answering the question of whether you threatened to overrule him.
It's dealing with the relevant point, which is what I was entitled to do and what I was not entitled to do. And I have dealt with this in detail before the House of Commons and before the Select Committee.
But with respect, you haven't answered the question of whether you threatened to overrule him.
That was Jeremy Paxman interviewing Michael Howard. That's a journalist conducting an interview. There were also podcasts. Podcasts look like this.
Who do you think has the biggest influence to make positive change, like real change? Is it the person with the money? Is it the person with the biggest mic? Is it the person that goes into politics? What is the best way to have the biggest impact?
Yeah, so I think the world has always only ever been a battle for influence.
I don't expect Patru Bet David to act like Jeremy Paxman when he's talking with Andrew Tate. They're having a podcast. In a podcast, I expect a conversation, funny stories, light anecdotes for the conversation to meander around and there not to be tough questions or follow-ups. But I do expect Tucker Carlson to act like Jeremy Paxman and conduct a journalist's interview and not act like Patrick Bet-David and turn his conversation with Andrew Tate into a podcast. But that's essentially what Tucker Carlson did. Tucker Carlson, one of the biggest, most controversial, most powerful journalists in American media, sat down with Andrew Tate and abdicated his entire journalistic responsibility, his techniques, his skills honed over a decade of working in media, threw it all away for a clout grab. And we know Tucker Carlson has the ability to conduct a sharp interview. He can push back against powerful people.
You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah. Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
We also know that Tucker Carlson, having been in media for a very long time, one of the traits you pick up as a journalist is the ability to read somebody's character and whether they're lying pretty quickly. Tucker Carlson, from the jump, knew Michael Avenatti was not to be trusted. He called Michael Avenatti as an unscrupulous liar from the very beginning.
If the president lies to the American
Settle
people.
down. Let me finish my question to you. What is the crime, the harm, the injury to your client by Donald Trump? As far as I understand, this was a consensual sexual relationship, and yes, I believe it occurred. I don't know that, but it seems like it did. I'm willing to believe that it did. But it seemed consensual, and then she was paid at the end of it. And yet you... And by the way, I'm not attacking Stormy Daniels. I feel sorry for her. I feel she's being exploited.
Tucker Carlson is good at sussing out people's true character. He's good at detecting when people lie. He's good at conducting pointed interviews with tough questions, follow-ups, and being combative. He abdicates this all of his potent skill as a journalist, he throws in the dustbin to maintain relevancy. He knows Andrew Tate is a highly relevant figure, and as he's in a contractual dispute with Fox News and unable to publish videos anywhere except Twitter, Tucker Carlson knows that his best bet to maintain relevance, throw away being a journalist and interview people, give them softball questions to maintain relevancy.
What is the matrix?
Good question.
And that's a shame. So we're going to do two things, only two things. I'm going to read to you the full list of charges against Andrew Tate by the Romanian government, and I'm not going to read it from the New York Times, the Washington Post. I'm reading it right from DICOT's website. This is the list of public charges against Andrew Tate. I have them right here. I'm going to read you the charges against Andrew Tate, and then I'm going to play you the first 4 minutes of Tucker Carlson's interview with Andrew Tate, as that sets the tone for the entire 2 hours. And then we can juxtapose what we hear with the charges and what we see between Tucker Carlson and Andrew Tate. Now, before I read the charges, I should add that Andrew Tate has publicly acknowledged that he used women. That's sloppy language. Use is not neutral. See? Andrew Tate has publicly acknowledged he collaborated with women to make money off of men or women in the adult webcam industry.
And maybe this is a bit bad. Here's where the famous would start. So it'd be good, like I had a lot of girls who worked for me, and the best was like the Ukrainians or the Russians. It was amazing because they'd get some guy, fall in love, they'd arrange today to meet, all this shit. I need a visa. Okay, get a visa. I need money for a visa. Okay, how much is a visa? It's $900. No, but it's not $900 because I went to the embassy. They think I'm a risk, and I need a return flight there and back, and I need a hotel. I need to have spending money in my bank account. They won't let me come. Or how much you need? All right, 10 grand. Boom, it's 10 G's. Boom, thanks.
Wow.
Go to the embassy, take a picture outside the embassy, boom, come back. They rejected my visa. They said we have to wait 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they'll give it to me. Okay, baby, boom. 2 more weeks of tips. Boom, 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 boom. Because now he thinks he's going to, right? Thinks he get the girls. Now he's spending more than ever. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. 2 weeks come. Some other problem.
I don't like that drink
Whether it's
on the
visa,
couch.
whatever. We make up some bullshit, right?
All these OnlyFans chicks can learn from you, man.
Oh, man, bro,
but you know, like a free
people watching
free OnlyFans tutorial.
Yeah,
here in the DMs.
people would say, why did those girls work for you? Because the girls would work for me, and at 50%, because it was 50-50, would make millions per month. If they worked for themselves, they'd make nothing. I was the best in the game.
So now that we know that Andrew Tate made money collaborating with women on the adult webcam industry, let's read the charges the Romanian government has filed against Andrew Tate. The offenses of forming an organized criminal group, human trafficking in a continuous form, continued in 2 material acts, illegal access to computer system, alteration of the integrity of computer data, instigation to hit or other violence and hitting or other violence. And let's break down those charges. In the case, it was noted that at the beginning of 2021, the 4 defendants formed an organized criminal group in order to commit the crime of human trafficking on the territory of Romania, but also in other countries such as the United States of America and Great Britain. The injured persons were recruited by the 4 nationals, Andrew Tate and his brother, by misleading them about the intentions to establish a marriage/cohabitation relationship and the existence of real feelings of love, parentheses, the lover boy method. They were later transported and housed in buildings in Ilfov County, where by exercising acts of physical violence and mental coercion through intimidation, constant surveillance, control, and the invoking of alleged debts, they were sexually exploited by their group members by forcing them to perform pornographic manifestations in order to produce and disseminate through social media platforms material of such a nature. The seven injured persons identified during the criminal investigation were subject to forced labor. Regarding the crime of rape, it was noted that in March 2022, an injured person was forced by one of the defendants, meaning Andrew or his brother Tristan Tate, through the exercise of physical violence and mental pressure to repeatedly have sexual relations. Regarding the crimes of inciting to hit or other violence, it was noted that in October 2021, in order to, quote, punish one of the injured persons who refused to continue making pornographic materials and requested to be allowed to leave the building located in Ifhoff County, Andrew Tate's house, at the instigation of one of the defendants, another defendant exercised acts of violence on the person injured. These are the actual charges verbatim against Andrew Tate. Now let's watch the first 4 minutes of Tucker Carlson's interview with Andrew Tate.
So what are you charged with?
That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos. To steal the money from the TikTok views.
Recruiting girls to make TikTok videos and stealing the money. So it's really a financial crime?
It looks that way, and it's very interesting because the girls who they've identified to add to the file are saying that we're not victims of anything and this isn't true. But the state believes it's true, and the state thinks that I, as a 35-year-old man, woke up. I was already extremely financially successful. I was already a father. I was already very well known. I had no financial motivation. I have no criminal record. It's not my personality profile, but I woke up at the age of 35 and decided to make girls do TikTok to enrich myself.
I hate to interrupt, but I just want to reemphasize, here is what Andrew Tate is actually being charged with. TikTok is not mentioned by the Romanian prosecutors one time. The victims, they were sexually exploited by the group members by forcing them to perform pornographic manifestations. The Romanian government does not care about what Andrew Tate and his brother do with women on TikTok. They don't care about TikTok videos. The Romanian government is not mentioning TikTok.
So in the United States, I think the belief is that you were charged with human trafficking.
Yeah, that's human trafficking because what you do is you force a girl to work against her will for financial gain. That's human trafficking. And their justification for this is that girls do TikTok. Some girls I know who they've found who say they're not victims have TikTok accounts.
How do you force someone to do TikTok videos?
I guess the prosecutor is going to have to explain that, isn't he? It's a very interesting scenario I'm in, and I'm inside of Romania, so I have to show a degree of respect.
Last time I saw the video, I promise. How do you force someone to make TikTok videos? Well, according to the Romanian prosecution, how Andrew Tate forced people to make TikTok videos in order to, quote, punish one of the injured persons who refused to continue making pornographic materials and requested to be allowed to leave the building located at Andrew Tate's house. At the instigation of one of the defendants, another defendant exercised acts of violence. So, you coerce women, or another word that Tucker Carlson would probably be familiar with as a conservative, is you groom individuals into doing what you want, and then you use acts of physical violence to coerce them into continuing to do what you want on TikTok.
To the Romanian judicial system, and I have to show a degree of respect to the situation I'm in, but the overall charge is that there's an organized criminal group. There's a group of us. I'm the head of it. My brother is below me, and we use the lover boy method to convince women to do TikTok videos to make money so that we can steal the TikTok money.
So there's no, just to be clear, you are not accused of pandering, of pimping, of forcing women to have sex with anybody.
No, not forcing them to have sex, not restraining their movement, not stopping them from living a full life, but the fact that we are somehow convincing them to have TikTok. Very interesting. I don't think...
But there's no actual... I'm asking you this because I do think it's a widespread belief that you were accused of pimping.
Yeah, no, that's nothing to do with any of this case. Absolutely nothing. And it's kind of scary because the crime in itself of human trafficking is a unique one because they can ignore the statement of the victim. So the girls have come forward and said, this is insane. You've just picked us because we're near Andrew and we're his friends. But the whole idea of the crime is they can say that she's brainwashed, right? She's under duress. So you can ignore her statement. State says she's a victim regardless of the fact that she says she's not a victim. So it's very interesting because the difference between sex and rape is consent, right?
Right.
But they remove all of that. They're like, nope, you're a victim. No matter what you say, we're deciding you're a victim. And they've chosen them. And of course, these girls do nothing pornographic. They've never had sex with anyone, nothing to do with that. So they've picked TikTok. So it's scary. Imagine you're a full-grown man anywhere in the world today. They can find 2 girls who have TikTok on their phone, which is every single female on the planet, and they can accuse you of forcing them to take the TikTok money. And even if the girls say they didn't do that, this isn't true, then you're still a human trafficker.
But force, what does that consist of? Forcing someone to do something? Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No, they're accusing me, and this is the thing, they're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
And by the way, these charges presumably are public, so...
They're public, and this is extremely serious, but if you actually analyze the overall case against me, they're saying that Andrew and his brother, by being nice men...
Okay, we'll stop it there at being nice men. Regarding the crime of rape, it was noted in March 2022, injured person was forced by one of the defendants through the exercise of physical violence and mental pressure to repeatedly have sexual relations. That is the Romanian government is accusing Andrew Tate of. Now, Andrew Tate is innocent until proven guilty. I firmly believe that. But these are the facts. Let's agree on the facts of what Romania is accusing Andrew Tate of. The fact that Tucker Carlson pushes back on 0 of the statements made by Andrew Tate leaves me wondering one question. Why? Why is Tucker Carlson choosing to abdicate his role as a journalist and his not inconsiderable skills as a person who is able to read somebody's character, detect when they're lying, and push back against what he thinks is wrong why is Tucker Carlson conducting this very feather-pillowed interview for Andrew Tate? Why is he rolling out the California King mattress for Andrew Tate to come lay on with him as they set up a couple mics and have a little podcast? Why is Tucker Carlson doing this? Clout grab to maintain relevancy. Since he cannot be on Fox News, he cannot post on YouTube, he cannot post on Rumble, he can only post on Twitter, because he still wants the money from Fox News in his contract as he sorts that out. The best way to maintain relevancy is to interview large public figures. But in order to get those interviews, you got to go nice on them. And Andrew Tate knows this. He knows he has leverage over Tucker Carlson, as everybody wants to interview Andrew Tate, as he's very culturally relevant. But Andrew Tate has the ability to grant permission for interviews. And he's only going to grant, after the BBC interview, interviews that are nice to him. But there is a good reason Tucker Carlson may be softballing Andrew Tate, at least at first. Often, good journalists know that it's okay to allow some answers that are lies to go past you if it's strategic to stay on that line of questioning. And here's a personal story about what I mean. When I was interviewing Martin Shkreli, I asked him a specific question. I said, when was the first time he can remember where he started distrusting media? And he answered that it was when he saw Jim Cramer being talked about in the news and it didn't match up with his reality of his boss. At the time, he was employed by Jim Cramer. When he gave me that answer, I had a high confidence interval that he was lying to me. But I let it pass because I wanted to stay on that line of questioning. Thematically, I wanted to ask him about his relationship with Bloomberg reporter Christy Smith, which he had never talked about openly. That's what I was really looking for. Now, in the post-game analysis, reflecting back on the interview, I probably could have pushed back on his answer about Jim Cramer and not ruin my chances of asking him about Christy Smith. But I was so focused in the moment that I let his lie slide in order to stay on the topic thematically. It was a strategic decision in the moment by me. Tucker Carlson knows how to do this. He's been interviewing people for decades. He's very good at it. And there could be a reason why he starts the interview with Andrew Tate softly, gently. But he never shifts his line of questioning. The tone never changes throughout the 2 hours. Tucker Carlson never asks a single double negative interrogative question. He never asks a binary question. They're always leading questions. If this doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Other media figures know exactly what I'm saying. Essentially, throughout this interview that's really a podcast, Tucker Carlson acts like Andrew Tate's defense attorney, asking only open-ended leading questions for Andrew Tate to answer how he chooses with 0 follow-up.
So every survey of female happiness in the West shows just a straight decline since about 1970 till now. Women are becoming less happy in the West. I think it's very obvious. What accounts for that?
How can you be happy when all the men around you aren't men?
right? We are the most beautiful union that God has possibly.
And that unwillingness to depart from soft, leading questions for a full 2 hours leads me to only one conclusion: that Tucker Carlson is deliberately softballing Andrew Tate just to get the interview, to remain relevant. He knows the interview and his proximity to Andrew Tate is more important than pushing back or asking Andrew Tate tough questions. Tucker Carlson is choosing to abdicate his responsibilities as a journalist and even some of his integrity simply for a clout grab. And I find that shameful. As someone who often likes Tucker Carlson, or at least respects his craft, I found this interview abhorrent. Tucker Carlson's producer, Justin Wells, who has been with him for many years and is a highly qualified producer, or Tucker Carlson, no way they are not aware of the actual charges against Andrew Tate, nor is there no way, I'm the Queen of England, if Tucker Carlson is not aware of the fact that Andrew Tate had an adult webcam business where he collaborated with women to make money from men for many years. Tucker Carlson knows this, and the fact that he's choosing to willfully ignore these facts, I find gross and disgusting, and any other critical thinker should at least examine Tucker Carlson's motives very skeptically moving forward. Let me know what you guys think down below. Leave a like if you agree with this video. Leave a like if you disagree with this video. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe, please. Thumbs up. Share it. Help the algorithm. You know, some of us just can't help but actually read the facts, unfortunately. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon. Bye.